Welcome to HD's burner account. Don't you know I love haters? Love all you. Love all you. Fire Force was a great anime. Now I didn't read the manga. I gotta read the manga still. I'm gonna go back and read it. I loved and enjoyed the episode. It had cliffhangers. It had drama. It had the energy. It had the perfect casting, the right people around one another. It had the beautiful women we love to see, the little ecchi comedy that they love to use when the girl clothes come off all the time. This was a great series. I enjoyed it, especially at the end when it seemed like there was no hope. There was no hope or nothing left. And for Hero to merge with his mother and his brother to become basically God, he was able to change a lot of stuff about the world. Now, we don't know what he did, like what other things are out there. We have no idea like what powers or the scaling is now that he's recreated things. But he was able to take away a lot of the hate and the doubt, the things that made evil bigger than what it was in this world. Now, if people don't know, Fire Force is actually the prequel to Soul Eater. Now, I didn't really watch Soul Eater like that, but this was introducing the Soul World. Which I believe is going to probably be coming soon. They're going to be working on that. Hello. So by them working on that, I mean, we're going to get other things going on. I enjoyed the series. I felt like the art was great. A lot of times, the art is all right. It ain't all that sometimes, but for this, it's been great. The season 3 was split into 2 parts. I love that it was. So this is where the world of Soul Eater came from. That's what Fire Force happened. Because at the end, if you noticed, the guy at the end, I don't know the names, y'all, so I apologize. But the guy at the end basically, he basically created the Soul Eater world. And once he created the Soul Eater world, he basically said, I'm going to create the main character like the hero from the Fire Force world. Which I thought was dope. Thought was a great way. A great way to move the story forward. Now of course, like this happened. It's the Great Cataclysm, y'all. It was an event that happened 250 years ago, 50 years before the solar year 0. During that event, the world was set on fire and many nations were wiped out with very few habitable areas left in the aftermath. The survivors took refuge in the Tokyo Empire, which remained mostly stable during the period despite losing some of its landmass. The Tokyo Emperor Raffles established the faith of the Holy Soul. Raffles the first establishes the faith of the Holy Soul Temple as it and Hajime Industries developed the perpetual thermal energy plant Amaterasu to power the country. Now in the year 198 of Tokyo's solar era, special fire brigades called the Fire Force fight increasing incidents of spontaneous human combustion where human beings are turned into living infernos called infernals. While the infernals are first generation cases of spontaneous human combustion with more powerful horned variations known as demons, later generations possess pyrokinesis, While retaining human form, the Fire Force was formed by combining people with these powers from the Holy Soul Temple, the Tokyo Armed Forces, and the Fire Defense Agency, and is composed of 8 independent companies. So, Shinra Kusakabe, who of course everyone calls as the hero, was a third generation pyrokinetic youth who gained the nickname the Devil's Footprints for his ability to ignite his feet at will, and was ostracized as a child for the fire that unalived his mother and younger brother Sho 12 years ago. He joined the Special Force Company 8, which features other pyrokinetics who dedicated themselves to ending the infernal attacks for good while investigating companies 1 through 7 for potential corruption in their ranks. Shinra begins to learn that the fire that unalived his mother was a cover for Sho to be taken by the White Claw, which is a doomsday cult behind the infernal attacks, with agents within the facets of the Tokyo Empire. Company 8 and their allies opposed the White Clad while learning of their goal to gather 8 individuals like Shinra and Sho to repeat the great cataclysm for an ancient being who manipulated humanity for that very purpose. Now, the manga was written and illustrated by Atsushi Okubo. Let's look him up real quick. He is a Japanese manga artist known for his work on Soul Eater and Fire Force, which have been adapted into anime. Okubo worked as an assistant under Rando Ayamin on the manga series Get Backers. He also created some artworks for the video game TCG, Lord of Vermilion, as well as some character designs in Bravely Default and Bravely Second in Layer. Now, Kobu was not a model. Yeah, I don't need to know all that about him. His works, of course, is Be-Ichi, which was 01 to 03. Soul Eater, which was 04 to 13. Soul Eater Not, which is 2011 to 2014. And then Fire Force. So he met Rando Ayamin and then the artists of Get Backers and Baze Swaze. So his assistants are Kei Urana, who is, of course, Gachi Akuda Claim. She's doing a hell of a job. Tomoyuki Maru, which is Tri-Piece. Takatoshi Shiazawa, Full Moon. Then Takuzi Kato, Knights and Magic. And Yoshiki Tonagai, Doubt. So those are his assistants. So that's a little bit something of him. Now the anime television, what I was gonna say, okay. He was, the Fire Force was serialized in Kodansha's Shonen Manga magazine, weekly Shonen magazine from September 23rd, 2015 to February 22, 2022. In the final chapter, it is hinted that Fire Force is connected to Okubo's other manga series, Soul Eater. Kodansha collected its 304 chapters in 34 tankobon volumes, released from February 17th, 2016 to May 17, 2022. The series is licensed for English release in North America by Kodansha USA, which published the volumes from November 8, 2016 to October 3rd, 2023. A 12-volume omnibus edition was released by the publisher from November 29, 2022 to September 17, 2024. An anime television series, of course, was adapted. So, that's a little bit of something for him. But in the series, you had, of course, him in Group 8, and he did his thing. Shinra was trying to figure out what happened to his mother. Along the way, he figured out that there was a conspiracy, like that the church was already infiltrated by the other side, and we got to meet that other side at the end. Which was good to see. You know, you had, of course, Shinra. You had Obi, who was, of course, the leader and everything. And he was the role model for the whole group. You also had Hinawa. You had Ozzy. You had Irish. Irish was of course, y'all know who she was. She was one of the nuns, but then we found out at the end that she was a doppelganger. Like she was the first pillar's doppelganger, and the first pillar basically was like she wanted her to stay herself. She wanted her to live her life, you know. Arthur was funny. This is where the Excalibur sword, I believe, came from. That was, of course, in Soul Eater. That they basically showed you where it was from. You know, which was dope. Maki, of course, y'all remember, she's a second generation. Her father was General Donro Ozzy. You know what I'm saying? She has the ability to absorb and extinguish fires. Like if you're a second generation, you have the ability to absorb or manipulate the fire. Whereas if you're third generation, you can actually make your own fire. Which I liked how they did that trope. That was dope how they did it. You know, I loved how they did that. So, of course, you know, Shinra became, you know, after he merged with his he used the Adola link. The Adola link is a way that you can go to the other world, and he was able to go to speed of light. So he was trying to oppose the evangelist. The humanity's rage is the fourth pillar. So he defeats the evangelist by developing soul resonance, which was a perception-altering powers of Adola to temporarily absorb his family. He temporarily absorbed him, and he became Shinra Bashoman and reboots the world into one ruled by his creation, Shinigami. He created Shinigami, who created the Death the Kid in his image years later. And y'all know Death the Kid, of course, is from the Soul Eater series. You know what I'm saying? That's who he was. Okay. Y'all got it. Of course, Hinawa was the second generation. He was the Company H lieutenant. You know, Arthur was the third generation. Kotatsu was a fire soldier, sister of Company 1. You know, Licht was good. Now Now, Hajima, you had the one crazy dude. I can't think of his name, but he was the crazy dude who was picking on the little kid. He was picking on the kid bad as hell. You know what I'm saying? So he was wild. Now, the White Claude, you had Show figured out. Now, Dr. Giovanni, I love Dr. Giovanni. Dr. Giovanni always had a plan on a plan on a plan. That's what I love about him. He always has something up his sleeve. Always has something up his sleeve. I'm trying to remember. The fight with Dragon and Arthur was the shit. That was the shit. Even though in the manga, people were saying it was better because it was more in the manga, but for what they did, that was to me the best or one of the greatest fighting scenes in the whole story. And then, of course, at the end, I'm trying to remember the girl's name. I liked the Joker. Joker was a good character. Sort of was like that, sort of was like, if y'all watch Spawn, he was like the I think it was Callisto or whatever his name was. He was like that character to Shinra. I like that. Like he was guiding him a little bit. It was another girl, I'm trying to remember her name, but I think Shinra ended up having a kid with her and the and the nun, because they said you get to see your child or whatever. But it's funny because both children looked at like had the hairstyles of both of his girlfriends. So I don't know if that was a trope to say that he ended up getting both of them pregnant. Because remember, at the end, he was chasing her down and she said she wanted to marry him, but he was already in a relationship with the nun. So I'm trying to think. Y'all let me know in the comment section. I think he got both of them pregnant, in my opinion. He got both of them pregnant. But I might not be sure about that. Trying to see. I think it was Sumir. Inca, that's her name. Inca. Okay, so so she basically, so after being revived by Shinra, Inca loses her pyrokinesis and ends up becoming one of the first witches in the rebooted world that Shinra created. She wanted to be with Shinra. And Shinra's been chasing her and shit. So I'm thinking at the end. Now, Sho, his brother, was a beast. He was nice. He was brainwashed, and then he started realizing, okay, I know what's going on. Hamiya, I liked it, her. Shinra at the end had to get her to let go of her despair. If he didn't let her let go of her despair, the world was still going to be covered in flames and still messed up. You know, that was a great scene between him going against Hamiya and the Evangelist. That was dope. You know, that was dope. Excuse me. That was real dope. I like that. 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 See something here. Okay, let me see something. Because at the end, it kind of confused you. Yeah, that's what happened. Shinra created Lord Death. He made Shinra the foundational creator of grandfather figure of the grandfather figure of the Soul Eater universe. Lord Death then models Death the Kid's appearance and existence after Shinra, the hero who saved the world, right? So basically they said in the epilogue, like Sister Iris, you know, became Shinra's partner and wife. They became together. And serving as the mother of his recognized lineage. So Inca also wanted a child from him. So basically what I think happened is at the end, like the final chapter, let me see some. Because I think the child at the end, the one with the gold hair, like the one with the it's kind of crazy. I think Shinra had children with both of the women. That's just me. Because he was trying to tell Arthur, how about you have a child with Arthur? I think those were his I think those were both his kids. So let's see. Okay. So the blonde boy, in addition to being identical, hold on. So the blonde boy, in addition to being identical to Arthur in practically everything, brings Excalibur with him. If I'm not mistaken, it was said in the manga that only Arthur can use Excalibur. So it doesn't make sense that someone else brings it. Okay, so the other person is identical to Inca and also wears his own hood. If you notice, well, the person with the earring has the exact same Inca hood but adapted to the uniform. Shinra says that his son has just been accepted, so it makes no sense that he already owns the uniform. In the final chapter, Shinra made it clear that he chooses Iris. I do not see possible that Shinra decide to have children with Inca. Iris is the only one for him. So my theory is that those two, this is a theory which is on Reddit. So the theory is that those two are not his children. They are simply Arthur and Inca, and that Shinra's real son was not shown in the final chapter. That's what I was thinking at first. You know what I'm saying? So everybody was saying, I was under the impression everyone knew that was Arthur and Inca. So these weren't his children. Those were Arthur and Inca. The creator tried to make it seem like that was his children. So it's kind of confusing. We never really got to see Shinra's son. I thought they both were his children, so I could have been wrong. So, again, people in the comment section are going crazy. So, somebody's saying the other one looked like Arthur and the other one looked like Inca. So what I think is this. I think the one kid is Arthur's kid and the other one is his kid that he had with Inca. And I believe he has another kid that just got accepted, is basically his other kid he had with Irish. But I don't know. Like I said, those possibly could have just been Inca and Irish. I mean Inca and Arthur, but hey, we don't know. That's what pissed me off about manga and anime. They always throw these tropes to kind of give you a misdirection, and it's like you as the reader or you as the viewer have to figure out if this is real or not. If this is real or not, or if it is what it is. It's crazy. Right, exactly. People think that Inca is the mother of his son, which I don't believe so. I mean, I'm just trying to be messy. Exactly. So now somebody else said a great point. Either people weren't paying attention to the chapter or they just want to avoid the obvious conclusion. Those two are both Shinra's kids, one with Inca and one with Irish. Arthur firmly establishes that Irish and Shinra are together in the previous chapter. And in this chapter, Shinra says, I already have Irish. Half the chapter is dedicated to Inca wanting Shinra's kid, but clearly saying she doesn't want to be with him romantically, so no harem ending. 25 years later, it says Shinra's kids are enlisted. Japanese don't use plural for kid or kids. Type them into Good Translate. They're exactly the same Japanese word. Shinra is talking about his kids, so why would it randomly cut to Inca and Arthur, who look way younger, at the door? What does Arthur and Inca have to do with this conversation? Look at their outfits. Inca hood plus Shinra logo, Inca kid. Irish petals plus Shinra logo, Irish kid. The author made it unnecessarily vague, but if you pay attention to the last two chapters, it's clear they are the kids enlisting he is talking about. If they were enlisted, somebody does a counterclaim. If they were enlisting, they would be younger, like Shinra's age at the beginning of the manga. Now, this person comes after and says it never says when the kids were conceived, just that the events in the last chapter were occurring 25 years later. I think Shinra would have held off on having a kid for at least a few years after the series ended, considering he was only 17. You know? So again, it's a lot of theories that happen. That's why I say I don't like open-ending. I don't like open-ending endings. Open-ended, endings, because you're gonna keep wondering what the hell happened. Like, and I guess that's what they love to do, because in anime and manga, they are the main ones who love doing this shit. They love doing this, and it's like, bruh. Like, what are we talking about? Like I said, I think those are his two children. I'ma say it. I'ma stick to it. If I'm wrong, I'll be wrong. I think he had a child with Irish, his wife, and he had a child with Inca, who wanted his children because he was powerful. So I'm sticking to it. Like I said, people saying, oh man, Shinra wouldn't do that. Nigga, how you know? Look, man, I don't put it past anybody what happens. So, again, what do y'all think in the comment section, man? Let me know what y'all think, but I love the series. The pacing was good. The fights, Dr. Giovanni's fights with the one, I can't think of the one guy name. What was the one guy name? Hold on, let me see. That's right, you. I love you. You was cool. Vulcan, yeah, Vulcan. I loved Vulcan and Lisa, who basically Vulcan loved her to the end, and found out she betrayed him. She ended up still helping him at the end for them to overcome Giovanni, and then Giovanni turned you turned you into he put a parasitic insect in you to turn him into a fire demon, and then but you was saved by Arthur. Arthur removed the parasite without damaging you's brain. It was crazy how he did it. Arthur was cool. Arthur was my guy. Arthur was funny as shit. He just came out of nowhere. But what do y'all think about the series, man? Make sure you hit the like button. Share this video to all your platforms, Twitch, Twitter, Threads, wherever you're at. Also, if you want to donate, you can Cash App, man. You can Cash App me. I have the link in the comment section and in the comment section and in the description box. You can also buy merchandise, you know. Check it out. I'm going to probably do a live in a few minutes. Give me a second. We're going to talk about Marvel news and Spider-Man Brand New Day. So thank y'all for listening, and I'm out. DEEZYii.